Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Founder. Sometimes we drink coffee, sometimes not. I actually have a little bit of coffee still left for me, Edward, so we're going to do a little bit of coffee.
That's great.
But I'm Beck Bamberger. I'm a founder myself. I have something called Founderitis. I can't stop. I do another company even after I'm done with one company, of course. And that's what we do on this show is explore the mind of founders and why they are doing this insane thing called venture-backed startups and what keeps them going on this, especially in this day and age where what's true, Edward, what's not. We don't know. We don't know. But we're going to explore. We're going to explore. With us today is Edward Tian, who is the CEO of GPTZero. This is a company that, of course, is AI focused. We're going to get into a lot of things because you are looking to restore information quality and transformation on the internet.
Yes.
No small feat. No small feat. So, Edward, thank you for being here. Explain. What are we doing here? Because we're all living in this is anything real world right now.
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much for having me back.
Yeah.
Large picture, we started right after ChatGPT. I was doing research on AI detection if something was written or generated or not generated by AI back at the Microsoft AI team, and then with the Princeton and LP lab in 2022. Started off GPTZero out of a thesis project and became a company. I would say higher level, we started with kind of this one feature, AI detection. Fast forward 2.5 years, we have this mission of preserving critical thinking in a world of AI. Just you can imagine, next generation of a 2-year-old can have access to ChatGPT in voice mode before they know how to read. People are scrolling every day as well too, and brain rot is becoming a real problem. And we want to build the tools to prevent the brain rot side of the house and spur critical thinking and learning to use AI, but also everyday and professional lives.
Okay, so how are you even going about that? This was truly a question that came up at a media dinner we had only a few weeks ago. One of the journalists said, I'm deeply afraid of just brain rot because I could just punch anything in and out comes a wonderful thing. It's not necessarily the best, but it's there.
Oh, yeah, it's happening. It's happening too. I recently read like an MIT study.
That study. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
People that are using AI every day in their lives as well have a visible kind of statistical decrease in terms of brain activity. And that's really bad for mental health. That's really bad for cognitive health, especially if they fast forward it in time. It starts in education when people first use AI tools as well too. We want to build things that not just preserve human writing as well as also enhances usage of AI. So you can imagine our team. We have a machine learning team around 10 folks and also a product team around another 10 folks as well too, kind of jamming together. We're building products that are kind of enhances around ChatGPT, like a thinking mode that provokes your thought process as you use AI tools. We're building an AI coach within Google Docs that kind of live spurs and encourages you to write. Encourages you when you put out certain factuality statements. It lives research, so you can kind of analyze the background and academic work behind what you write yourselves. Think maybe as a journalist, you would start with like a nut graph, a headline, and your conclusion, how you structure your writing. Encourages you to think, because at the end of the day, I think writing is one of the great places or the backgrounds of critical thinking, because the editing process is so unique in thinking, even more than video or pictures as well too. So that's where we are.
Okay, great. And is this then is this like a lumosity for using of AI in a way? Would you say some of these tools, some of these techniques are far more advanced, I'm sure? Is it for the person who's like, God, I just want to not have, I just don't want to have brain rot. So please help me deter that phenomenon.
Yeah, for our company, we're 50% in education. That's where we started, and
Mm-hmm.
50% outside in terms of a lot of professional. We had some government, like House of Representative
Yeah.
presentations using our tools recently, or one of our business team members just went to House of Reps this week.
Yeah.
We have speech writers, copywriters, journalists,
Mm-hmm.
analysts as well too. But the education side, it starts with, hey, this is your first exposure to AI. Now,
Yeah.
prefer using an AI tool that's actually encouraging you to think and maybe helping you structure as well. And then our belief is that you'll really enjoy that process of not taking a shortcut, and having kind of AI as like a live coach. And yeah, so taking more of like an AI that enhances how you write is kind of the focus,
Hmm.
I think.
May I say, though, is this not a situation where, look, you can eat a bag of potato chips, or you can eat this beautiful smoothie that has all this whole great, wonderful food. Now you are a human, so you're going to pick, and so you can go with the bag of chips, and you just have AI do all the stuff for you, and your brain goes to smithereens. Like, let's say, being obese. Let's say if you're eating processed foods, and then that becomes the result of poor eating choices. Let's say, if that's the case, there versus the human who goes, you know what? I want to stay regimented. I am choosing proactively what I put in my brain, what I'm doing. I was just talking with someone, all this to say, just last week about, is this not the new processed junk food?
Yeah, that's a great question, Beck. I would say how we frame it
Yeah,
is, it's not an either or of a trade-off. It's
I
using
agree with
tools
that.
that help
Yeah.
guide you in the process actually get you better outcomes. So we're living in a world where it's 100 times easier, and there's thousands more of an essay or outcomes or text or LinkedIn posts
Mm-hmm.
than ever before. We're living in a world of what I call not just journalism, but journalism of content. So there's so much
Journalism.
um,
Hmm.
jargon and
Yeah.
low quality churn content out in the internet. And people are starting to realize that it's actually a value add that you can cut through all of that if you have great, unique content. But even with every other AI company in writing, marketing space or copy editing space, their goal is to generate volume, and their goal is not to generate something unique to you. And what people are realizing is, oh, actually, I was doing a presentation last week where to our team and to business partners, where the first version I asked AI to generate my slide deck, and then I looked at the slide deck. I realized it was all really low quality and not custom to what I wanted. So I scrapped it all and restarted a slide deck myself and
Mm.
wrote every single line page. And then realized, hey, if you actually have an AI that enhances, encourages you think, takes you to step one, two, three of the process, it's a lot better than something that completes the final product for you.
Mm.
So it's not a trade-off, because you can actually get better outcomes in terms of how you use AI through thinking critically, through having it be a thought partner during your writing process and your building and creating process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You're quite optimistic, Edward, is what I sense.
Yes, yeah, totally.
I am too. I am too on this thing because to some extent it's like, well, yeah, you could eat the junk food or you could eat this way. We're putting stuff in our brain versus it's the whole body. But I'm with you. I'm with you on the optimism. How is it going from being inside of, I mean, Edward, you were at the BBC as an investigative journalist. You were also in the Princeton lab. So you've been an academic, you've been a journalist. Now you're here as the CEO. How's that been? And which do you prefer in these realms, if you have a preference?
Yeah. Well, I grew up as a writer. I grew up always wanting to be a journalist, and studied it at
Love it.
Princeton, and was really excited for that opportunity. And it
Yeah.
continues to be a huge inspiration for us at GPTZero, which grew from a viral moment into viral moment, as in it was covered on over 100 media outlets, whether
Hmm.
it's in Anderson Cooper or the New York Times, or even last week on the New Yorker. And
Yes.
it grew from that moment into what we believe is a very mission driven company to preserve authenticity in an age of generative AI. And I would say what kind of is a threat of that is, yeah, this idea of preserving authenticity. I wouldn't be where I am with GPTZero without the lessons I learned as a writer, without kind of the motivations of kind of journalism, and even at the BBC visual investigation teams, where we were very focused on authenticity of information, monitoring disinformation, investigating, and bring the truth to light. And that continues to be the case. I think, even kind of 3 or 4 months ago, we did an investigation on analyzing the popular AI models and their likelihood of hallucination. And it continues to be a trend. Real.
Edward,
do you say the work's not that different in terms of, what still gets you work on what we're excited to do.
Okay, good. What would you say to someone who's 16 today?
Yeah, I would say it's worth learning how to write. We were even doing a thought experiment at lunch, and I can imagine a 15-year-old or 16-year-old in a year or two saying, is the period supposed to go at the end of the sentence? Are you supposed to capitalize proper nouns or so as well too? Because you're offsetting, a lot of what you do to an engine or a machine, which is fine in terms of professional setting, but there's building blocks that are so fundamental to spurring your critical thinking, your creativity. Writing is, in my opinion, majority not actually the generative process, it's the editing process. Because a lot of times you realize the best writers, the best journalists, it's not the first draft, it's the fourth draft.
Oh, exactly.
And
it's what you did with your editor, and then they tweak that, and then you went down a different thing. It is a collaborative process. It can be,
That's where something unique happens, because AI will always and is really good at the generation process, but it'll never be as good as you in editing in terms of getting it to voice. And that's where critical thinking happens. So you don't want to lose that skill. And secondly, you're going to be having way better outcomes with AI if you're able to be part of that process and mirroring. Not only in the writing process, we're 100% seeing this in the coding process as well too, because whether it's the Windsurf acquisition, some of our investors, or there's some investors in Cursor, the AI coding tool as well too, and we'll have candidates interview with us where they'll have an amazing take-home coding assignment, and they won't even know how to write the most simple kind of formula or program themselves anymore. And this is a problem of brain rot, because these are people that have coded for years. And the problem here is you can use any of these popular coding tools, but it's not going to be building a scalable software company without knowing and intricately mirroring these tools and bouncing throughout. And the same is true for creativity, the same is true for critical thinking, the same is true for research, and the same is true for writing, that we're already seeing in the outcome of these coding tools.
Edward, what's keeping you up at night?
Well, actually, two things too.
Two things? Oh, not just one thing. We got two?
Sure. I think the largest thing is entering a world where people don't think for themselves anymore. Not just.
But Edward, aren't we already there to some extent?
To some extent, we are, but it's only more.
Yes, it's only accelerating.
Yeah, because
it's up and to the right. It's the curve. It's the wrong curve.
It's not only entering our media landscape. It's entering our workplace. It's entering how we accomplish in terms of whether it's writing, coding, business as well too. It's also entering education, and I think that's keeping up as well too. When you have the 16-year-old that doesn't know how to write a complete sentence, when you have the 2-year-old that's using ChatGPT before they know how to read, when voice mode as well too, and what does the next generation of humans in terms of having their own thinking or knowing how to think look like, and that definitely keeps us up at night as well. Yeah, huge focus.
Yes, because the dystopic view of this is like, well, why do I need to even talk anymore? There's an AI thing. I don't need to speak. I don't need to know language. Why would I need to know how to feed myself? Look at the thing comes out. Like, there's a lot of perverse and very dark trails to this. Yes,
especially when it starts with people so young.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm glad I'm not a teenager right now, Edward, or any child at this level, at this point.
I think the optimistic version of what keeps us makes us excited is how we can build these tools to unlock those moments. There's so many teachers, not just teachers that have been teaching their entire career, but teachers that are 24, 25, or just entering the workforce that are still like, wow, this is just terrible as well too.
Yes.
Like, give the moment that lights them up and say, hey, actually, this is a version of AI that really enhances, preserves your critical thinking. I was talking to my journalism department chair at Princeton today, Joe Stevens, who is a 3-time Pulitzer nominated investigative journalist. And he was saying he's even trying to redesign his media course to involve AI, be more AI literate. What are ways for journalists to be excited rather than fearful? Scared, but it really depends on how the tool is introduced and used and built.
Completely. What about for you, Edward? And I like to ask these questions, especially for companies that are in the space of ever evolving AI, like you as former journalist, former, academic, we could say, have you changed your mind on recently?
Yeah, it's a great question as well too. For us, I think I've changed our mind on early education as well. At the start, I came from very much an AI background, so we were AI maximalists, and then now we realize there are certain moments in your education that make sense to just do things without AI to learn yourself, and then later on the enhancement of a tool as well too, just so you learn how to do really basic things. And for our company, I think the focus has shifted from AI detection to revision the process and enhancing the writing process, because it's not about just the final moment. So much of AI is this click, this panacea, this final kind of A to B moment, but it should be part of your entire process as well too, especially writing being so iterative. And the essence of the process is revision and editing. And lastly, as a founder, I think my hot take is
give us a hot take.
Yeah, you should always build for journalists and writers. A lot of people come to us and say, hey, like writing is an industry that's not as lucrative as legal AI, coding AI, image detection AI, video detection AI. And we've had investors and VCs and technologists tell us, hey, why don't you tackle those industries all the time? But you should always build for journalists and writers, because writing is a building block about how we communicate in the world. And it's an area of originality, creativity as well too, that needs to be preserved. It's also still the most used form of AI in the world, text. Lastly, I would say there's so many tech companies that there's an arbitrage opportunity when you build for writers and journalists, because you can be part of kind of the landscape of how people talk about AI, which is so big in terms of adoption as a company. Slack, for example, a popular messaging platform. People will know the story. A lot of people know that they started with very early startups, but they also, and I think this is less popular, they started with a lot of initial customers that were newsrooms, and they found, the Slack founders realized, hey, early adopters, small startups just like ourselves, 10, 20, 30 people using us, loving us, newsrooms were actually one of the first adopters. And for some reason, journalists also have a tendency to overwrite about things that they use themselves, and overweigh in importance. Probably why Twitter has so much, media, because and Slack as well grew a lot because a lot of journalists covered it because they use them themselves. For better or worse, they have a tendency to overweigh the tools journalists use themselves. So I think there is an arbitrage opportunity as well. And the hot take is, hey, as any tech company, whether you're the OpenAI or the Anthropics or of the world or the GPTZeros of the world, you should always think about how this is going to be the future for the writers and journalists.
Build for writers, founders, build for writers. Edward, thank you for being on today. This was illuminating and fun, and positive, I must say. So I appreciate that. It was fun. Edward Tian, everybody. He's the CEO of GPTZero, making AI actually not cause brain rot for all of us. God, please, Edward. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for doing your stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Beck. You could check us out on our website for
Oh,
AI
yeah.
detection or on our Chrome extension for your actual writing process throughout Google Docs.
Perfect.
How you write.
Perfect. See, okay, great. And do you want to tout that a little bit more? Like, how do you? It's just a Chrome extension.
Yeah, it's a search up on the Chrome store,
There you go.
GPTZero. Its extension goes into Google Docs. We actually have the first live coaching that kind of encourages you and pulls out sources as you write. Just focus on that iterative process.
Pulling it up right now. Oh, great. Thank you, Edward. Good seeing you today.
Thanks, Beck.